Good morning, Kentuckiana. Welcome to the Indiana Sports Beat here on Big X Sports Radio. Justin Coyle back in studio today with a clean bill of health. Yesterday was a rough one. I won't get into too many details about it, but I had food poisoning, only the second time ever in my life. 28 years old, only the second time I've ever had it, and I'll be completely fine if I go another 28 years without getting it again. So, it was rough. Make sure you got a guy on the grill that knows what he's doing, would be my advice. But welcome into the program. We got a big show today. Make sure you hit us up on the text line. 502-414-1450 is that number. 502-414-1450 if you've got an opinion on anything we say or any questions for Chronic Hoosier coming up at 7:20. Chuck Crabb, the PA voice for Indiana University, will be on at 7:40. So a big show today. We'll also have a discussion with Don Fisher. So make sure you stay tuned. It should be a good program here today. But before we go any further, let's go ahead and jump into the headlines. Pretty good headlines today, brought to you by Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart, located off of Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. Make sure you stop in for your hot breakfast, fill your gas tank, or hit up one of their daily lunch specials. Lunch special today, $4.99 baked tacos. Odell Beckham signs a 5-year, $95 million deal with the Giants. $65 million of that is guaranteed. That indeed makes him the highest paid wide receiver. Manu Ginobili retires after 16 seasons. On the journey, Manu said, "It was a fabulous journey, way beyond my wildest dreams." Former New Albany and U of L star Josh Rogers makes his Major League debut tonight as he gets the start for the Orioles as they take on the Blue Jays. And Brandon Dawkins leaves the Indiana football program. Tom Allen on Dawkins. He's going a different direction in his life. Those are your headlines for August 28th on this Tuesday. Brought to you by Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart. Whether you need some breakfast, gas for your car, or their daily lunch specials, $4.99 baked tacos are your lunch special today. So some pretty good headlines there, but the main one that we're likely going to spend a majority of this show talking about today has got to be Brandon Dawkins leaving Indiana. I've heard some people say online, well, maybe he left because he was third on the depth chart. Maybe he just wasn't happy. Whatever it may be, the guy's gone. I mean, that's no doubt going to create an issue for Indiana. Hopefully not, but I mean, potentially could create big problems for Indiana and this football team. Now all of a sudden you're down to two quarterbacks. You've got Peyton Ramsey and you've got Michael Penix. Now, some news did come out yesterday, not long after the Brandon Dawkins news, that Reese Taylor was going to move from the defensive side of the football where he's been playing as a cornerback, and he will move into the quarterback's room. Indiana Mr. Football last year up at Ben Davis. So not a bad guy to be able to slide from your defense over to the offensive side of the football. So now Reese Taylor, who it's not like they just threw him in. He has been getting reps offensively all camp long. From my understanding, they had a couple plays in the playbook, a couple wrinkles to throw Reese Taylor in, get him out in space to see if he can't break containment along the outside because he is fast. Reese Taylor is real fast. But now it's just going to become a more prominent part of the offense, if I had to guess. I mean, Tom Allen loves Reese Taylor, and he's said it multiple times. Reese Taylor is one of the most special kids ever. So we'll see how that all plays out. But Brandon Dawkins leaving Indiana, a big surprise in a lot of people's eyes. 502-414-1450 is the text line if you've got an opinion on the Brandon Dawkins situation. I want to know what you think. What did Brandon Dawkins leave in Indiana? What did you think about that? Does it surprise you? I mean, when you're a fifth-year grad transfer and you come to a program like Indiana, you expect to start. And everybody else expects you to start. The coaching staff expected you to start. The fans expected you to start. And that wasn't the case. So is this just a case of Brandon Dawkins being a baby, throwing a fit, go hiding in the corner? I don't know. I don't know what it is. Tom Allen didn't say much about it. Basically, he's just going in a different direction in his life. Pretty vague, but I mean, I'm sure we'll find out more as time goes along. And if Brandon Dawkins truly was listed as number 3 on the depth chart, I don't want to say that. I don't want to give him a pass for leaving. But I mean, I kind of get it. You're behind a redshirt sophomore and a freshman. You'll play, but you're not going to play much. And if you're a fifth-year grad transfer, like I said, you want to start. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. You come into a program thinking that you're going to be the starter by a long shot. Not even going to be close. So this coming on the heels of Morgan Ellison leaving the program this weekend. Well, not leaving the program, being suspended indefinitely, which may in the end be leaving the program. So we'll see how that plays out. But now it's just going to be a question of, I saw Chronic Hoosier, one of our guests today, post something on Twitter yesterday. Yeah, I'm excited about this Indiana season. It's game day or it's game week, but who's going to be around to start the season? I think that's a fair question. Now, do I expect any more turmoil with this football program and anybody else to leave? Not really, no. Everything else seems pretty set in stone. Everybody else seems pretty happy, but then again, in my opinion, I thought Brandon Dawkins and Morgan Ellison seemed happy as well. So what do I know? But yeah, it's unfortunate that this happened during game week, but it's like Jim was talking about yesterday on the show. At least it happened before the program. We didn't have to wait till middle of the first quarter for a guy to snap his knee. So Brandon Dawkins gone. Reese Taylor will move to the quarterback position. Morgan Ellison gone. Hopefully this is all that's going to come out this week. Because it's Tuesday. We're 5 days from game day. You can't have anything else coming out at this point. At this point, you got to roll with what you've got. And Indiana wants to keep that there. So I fully expect that Peyton Ramsey is going to come out and he'll play really well, FIU, but I would not be surprised, and Tom Allen even said that as much yesterday as well, wouldn't be surprised if Michael Penix plays. Now, that's an interesting situation with Michael Penix. Now, with Indiana football, it becomes extremely hard to redshirt Michael Penix. And to be quite honest with you, I doubt they do redshirt Michael Penix. So it's even more cry now from the fan base to get him in there. Now, I mean, realistically, the redshirt rule could still be on the table. And I'm not going to be surprised either way if Indiana's coaching staff decides to use it or if they don't. But I think it would behoove the Indiana football program moving forward into the future if you get a guy like Michael Penix in there this year. Now, look, he doesn't have to start every game. He's obviously not going to start the FIU game. But you've got to give a kid like that the opportunities and the most opportunities you can in a season like this. If you truly believe that Michael Penix is your quarterback moving forward, which I firmly believe Tom Allen and the coaching staff feel that Michael Penix is the guy going forward, you've got to give him those opportunities this season. And not just in 4 games. Put him in FIU. Not only because he's got friends and family there, because it's his first game of his college career. Give that kid the experience that early on. And then how much is it going to help when you put him in a game like a Michigan or an Ohio State? Yeah, those teams are far superior to where Indiana is right now, but you're telling me that type of experience moving forward isn't going to help Michael Penix in his football career? It absolutely will. So 502-414-1450, the text line. If you've got an opinion on any of this, like it always does, it seems like Indiana football found a way to get interesting. And it continually keeps Indiana football fans on their toes. You never know what to expect out of this football program. But like I said, you've got a certain set of guys now moving forward that you've got to look at. All right, these are my guys. These are the ones taken that we're going to FIU with. Do we wish we could have Morgan Ellison and take him? Sure. Do we wish we had Brandon Dawkins that could take him? Sure. That's just not happening. So you got to move on without that. Joker text in, 502-414-1450 if you want to do the same. Said, sounds like he is lazy coming into fall camp out of shape, then not putting in the time in his off time to learn the offense. Doesn't sound like to me he really wanted the starting job. You have to earn it. Yeah, and I'd agree with that, Joker. It sounds to me like he wanted the starting job, but it doesn't sound to me like Brandon Dawkins wanted to work for that starting job. And that's where the issue is. And I mean, look, if he didn't want to really put in the time and work to be the starting quarterback, why would a guy like that stick around to continue putting in the work without a guarantee that he's even going to see the field? So when you put it that way, not surprised Brandon Dawkins left the program. One more text into the show. I have solved our QB issues. This one comes from Josh. I watched Rudy last night and I had a big bowl of Wheaties this morning. Put me in, Coach Allen. Josh, I'm in. I'm in. At least if you didn't get the starting job, Josh, I'd venture to say that you would stay around the program and be a good teammate and want to be there with your guys. Now, I'm not saying Brandon Dawkins is a bad teammate, blah, blah, blah. He doesn't have a whole lot invested into Indiana. Now, if this were a situation at Arizona and he was second, third string, left the program, then I'd dog on him a little bit more. But he has nothing invested in Indiana. He's been here, 2, maybe 3 months at the most. So, interesting turmoil with Indiana's football program happening yesterday. I'm sure we'll talk more about it with Jim Coyle. We're going to swing it to a break right now. Make sure you come back with Indiana Sports Beat. We'll be back with more here in just a second. If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
Hurt in a car? Call Sam Aguiar.
At Sam Aguiar Injury Lawyers, we're proud that so many of our clients recommend us to other people who need our help. It means we must be doing things right. And it's a great compliment to know that so many people trust us to take care of their family and friends. So thank you, Louisville, for spreading the word and making us your choice of law firms.
Hurt in a car? Call Sam Aguiar. 888-8888.
Welcome back to the program here on Indiana Sports Beat. Jim Coyle, and we are very fortunate to welcome the voice of the Indiana Hoosiers, Don Fisher. Don, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Jim. Looking forward to it.
Me too, and I didn't get a chance to say this because this happened over the summer, but Don won the first annual Woody Durham College Voice Award by the National Sports Media Association, someone who I know you had great respect for, but Don Fisher is probably the most premier voice man in the business. He doesn't like to hear that stuff, but the truth is the truth. But congratulations on that, Don.
Well, thank you very much. It was quite an honor, to say the least. And Woody and I were very close friends. Of course, he passed back in the spring, and then, of course, had this award named after him. And I was shocked but honored to be the first recipient. It was really a great honor.
Yeah, you were truly surprised, so much so that your wife didn't even know. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, my wife normally goes with me to the awards program down in Salisbury for the Sportscaster of the Year honor, and I went this time on my own thinking, and I'd been there a number of times, obviously, and So she just didn't make the trip this time, and actually I did not go down for anything but the awards program on that Monday. So yeah, she was she was a little upset that they didn't let anybody know outside of the people that were making the award and the honor, so on and so forth. So it was a shock to my family, but no question, everybody was quite thrilled with the honor.
Absolutely, and well deserved. The football season about to get underway. Kickoff next Saturday for most teams, including Indiana, as they take on Florida International on the road on their first game. They just got past the drama of naming the quarterback in Peyton Ramsey, and then Indiana has usually had a penchant for losing a player at the beginning of the season. They do it before the season this year. Losing Morgan Ellison, unfortunately, is going to be a blow for them at running back, but something they can overcome.
Well, I think so, because as everyone knows, Indiana the last couple of years has been a running back by committee, and a lot of guys have gotten opportunities. Cole Guest, obviously, Mike Majette, when he hasn't been hurt, has played well at times, and he's probably the most versatile of all the backs in the sense that he is the best at catching the ball out of the backfield. So those two guys have certainly a lot of talent. There's a young freshman by the name of Stevie Scott, who I think we're going to see a lot of here this season. He's 6'2", 233 pounds. He's a very physical football player. And as Bill Mallory used to say, our late head coach at Indiana, this guy comes out the front end. He's one of those kids that's very strong and physical, and he's also got some speed to him. So I think we'll see him as well. There are others. Ricky Brookins is another kid that doesn't get a lot of talk, but he's a very tough, hard-nosed football player and plays pretty well at that running back spot. So my gut feeling is we're going to see a lot of different players at that position, no matter who was going to be healthy. And Morgan Ellison would have been one of those, but he's on indefinite suspension, and no one knows how long that will be. So we'll just have to wait and see on that.
Yeah, most of the times you just plan going forward and what you have, and I think that they're going to be okay. Like you said, they've got a lot of guys. They went by committee last year. And also, I think because of this now, which we may have already, but probably more likely going to be seeing all three quarterbacks because all three are running quarterbacks, which will also aid in the loss of Morgan Ellison.
Well, I think that's true. Peyton Ramsey, of course, is not – I mean, he's not a super fast guy, but he is elusive. He can stretch plays because he's got good feet. He's not superstar fast, but he does know how to run the football, and he's a tough physical player. Brandon Dawkins is, of course, the fifth-year transfer out of Arizona, who is really a good runner at that quarterback position. In fact, that's his strength as a quarterback, his ability to move the football with his feet. And I think there's no question he's going to have a package out there for Indiana. And the young freshman, Michael Penix, I don't know how much he's going to play. I do think from a talent perspective he is the best of the three, but he's very young, very inexperienced, even though he went through spring ball this year. But I've seen a lot of really good things from this southpaw quarterback, and I'm really excited about him being on Indiana's campus and being a part of this football program. And I think he'll play some. I think they'd love to redshirt him if they could get away with it. And, of course, the new NCAA college rules dictate that any freshman can play 4 games now and then be redshirted. So that means that he has 4 games to see what he can do as well. So and Penix is a great combination of the throw and the run. He is one of those guys that has a really good arm, and he has looked very good throwing the football in practice as well as he's got good speed. So I think they're going to use all 3 of those guys in that package, and we can't forget about a young man by the name of Reese Taylor, who is Indiana Mr. Football, and they put in some packages for him. I don't know how much they'll utilize him in that sense as far as the running back or a quarterback is concerned, but there's no doubt that he is capable of doing those same things. So you've really got a lot of different options that you can use in the running game.
Well, and you answered a lot of questions that I didn't even have to ask right there that I planned on Mr. Football, Reese Taylor being one of those. He's someone that both offensively and defensively, they've been fighting over his services for Indiana. So that tells you how special of an athlete he has to be at that young age, and both sides wanting him to play for them.
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, he's a talented young man. He was a tremendous passer in high school at Ben Davis, where they won the state championship a year ago. I think he threw well over 70% completions as a high school quarterback, which is just phenomenal. He's got great quickness, and he's really, really smart as a player. And right now they're utilizing him more on the defensive side than they are with any offense. He's working back in that defensive backfield. That's where he wanted to play as a college player because he felt like that was his best option going forward as far as a career in football is concerned. But we'll just have to wait and see. And there's no question he's very talented in that quarterback role. And right now I think that they think he's going to be very solid in the defensive backfield as well. So we'll just have to wait and see on all that. But there are a lot of questions to be answered with this football team. I think the biggest one, of course, is on defense, and that's where Indiana lost 8 starters from a year ago, and now they're revamping a little bit under Tom Allen, who is a tremendous defensive coach, as everyone knows, and what a job that guy has done over the past couple of years of basically changing the whole culture of Indiana's defense, where Indiana's defense was basically the cellar dwellers in the Big Ten statistically virtually every year. He has upgraded that area for Indiana dramatically, and even though they lost 8 starters, I really believe and have confidence that Tom will find a way to utilize a lot of these young guys and guys that don't have a lot of experience and give Indiana a defense that I think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be as good as it was a year ago. I don't see how it can be, having lost 8 starters, but I think they'll find a way to be productive on the defensive side of the football because of his expertise.
And I agree with you. And the secondary is an area that has really looked strong, and the coaches have really raved about, so that they feel comfortable with that. The defensive line was bolstered with the grad transfer, and then linebacker was probably the biggest question. They lost T. Gray Scales, lost Chris Covington, but they got eligibility for I'm losing his name right now, but
Darius Willis.
Yes, and so they feel a little bit
better
about
that. Oh, I know
that.
you're talking about. You're actually talking about T.D. Roof.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a transfer kid from North Carolina State. I don't have my stuff in front of me right now, but T.D. Roof is a kid that they were very high on when they were recruiting him. Tom Allen was very high on him. He is a transfer. I'm not sure right now, however, that he'll be the starter. In fact, the 2 guys that maybe you would think, well, these guys have played, but they haven't done anything spectacular, both these guys have upped their game apparently, and we're talking about Darius Willis, who was probably the one guy that saw action at linebacker last year more than any other of the non-experienced guys, and then a kid named Raekwon Jones, who also came in as a linebacker, has worked his way into the mix here, and really has taken upon the fact that he's a redshirt junior and a guy that a lot of people didn't think was going to make much headway. Well, once he saw that both Covington and T. Gray Scales were gone, he put his nose to the grindstone and has really stepped up, and he's really looked good in practice. In fact, I think he's won one of the starting linebacker roles along with Willis. So you've got 2 guys that each actually do have some experience. They experience in the sense that they know the system. They just haven't played a lot, and we're going to have to find out just how effective they are. But there's no question that's a real critical piece of the puzzle for this Indiana football defense if they're going to be good.
And, of course, they have Tom Allen, so I think they stand a very good chance of getting things in line as they head to South Florida. Talking to Don Fisher, of course, you can tell by the voice. How do you see it playing out in South Florida this Saturday?
Well, it's hard to know. Florida International, under Butch Davis in his first season last year as their coach, went 8-4. And obviously Indiana was to play them last year, and then the Hurricane knocked that game out, and they didn't get the chance to play against this team. This is a good football program and a really good football coach. Davis has been around a long time and has had great success wherever he has been. This is going to be a tough challenge, I think, for this IU ball club. One thing you know about Florida teams, They are always very talented. They're always very fast. They've got great athletes. They also are going through a quarterback change in the sense that they've got a brand new guy or two guys that are challenging for that quarterback position. One was at Bowling Green a year ago and was very successful there. The other has been in their program, and these two guys have been battling for that starting role all season long. I guess we'll find out today or tomorrow who they're naming as their starter, but both are very capable players. And I guess the Morgan kid is one of those guys that's a combination of runner-thrower. The other guy is more of just kind of an NFL-type prototype quarterback. So we just don't know much about their strengths at this point. They lost a lot on their defensive side of the football, just like Indiana did, linebacker especially. They lost their starters from last year, but they got a very talented offensive line and a very experienced one. And their defensive line looks good as well. So it's going to be an interesting challenge. I think this is going to be a very tough game for Indiana. It will tell us a lot about this Indiana football team here at the outset.
We'll certainly find out. You can listen to that game right here on Big X Sports Radio. Don Fisher on the call. Don, thank you so much. So we look forward to talking to you next Friday, hopefully about a win.
Well, let's make it next Tuesday since it's
right.
Labor Day next week, and that's generally speaking, everybody wants to take the day off on Labor Day. I do too. Unfortunately, I don't think I'll be able to, but nevertheless, Labor Day is next week, so we'll do our show next week on Tuesday, and then we'll be back to Mondays for the rest of the year.
Sounds good. Have a great week. Look forward to it, and we'll talk to you then. Don Fisher, the voice of the Indiana Hoosiers. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you. Don Fisher.
Hurt in a car? Call Sam Aguiar.
If you've been injured, you may be wondering, what can a lawyer do for me? I'll tell you right now. On average, injured people with a lawyer get over 3 times more money than those without one. And at Sam Aguiar Injury Lawyers, we're all about getting accident victims the money they deserve. Now that you know the facts, don't settle for less.
Hurt in a car? Call Sam Aguiar. 888-8888.
This is Jim Coyle. When I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for a happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer. All right, let's do this. Welcome back. Indiana Sports Beat. Jim Coyle sitting in. Justin Kalen high atop the crew chief's box, keeping things spinning.
That's right.
How's your day going? Thanks a lot for taking us along wherever you may be, wherever going, whatever you may be doing. We're grateful to be going with you. Plenty to talk about, as Justin mentioned. The quarterback situation in Indiana got a little murky, but not really. The only thing that happened is they lost a little depth. And they've had to move Reese Taylor over now instead, which may be a good thing. Who knows? He is such a special athlete. But he might not even see the field as quarterback. Penix will definitely see the field in Miami. And if you give a guy a chance, man, who knows? That may be the guy you see taking snaps against Ball State.
Yeah, Penix absolutely has to take advantage of that opportunity if it does arise come Saturday.
Oh, it will arise.
Yeah, I think so too.
You will see him.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. He's the staff knows, I think, that he is going to be the starting quarterback. And that's why Coach Allen said, don't be surprised if you see him Friday. That's because he knows he's going to be playing every game. Forget about a red shirt. That's not even a thought anymore.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be. They're looking at the here and the now.
Yeah, and that's the point I made in the open is if Michael Penix, if you truly believe he's your man of the future, you've got to get him as much opportunity this year as you can.
Well, but they don't know that. They don't know that. They don't know that he's the guy of the future any more than Peyton Ramsey is. That's why they named Peyton Ramsey the starter.
Sure.
But between you and me, I think he's the guy of the future. I'm not the only one that thinks that.
I think there are some on the coaching staff that probably think that as well.
Oh, I'm sure. But I guess they also felt that maybe this would be throwing him into the Lions a bit soon. There are other teams that are starting true freshmen around the country.
Alabama started a true freshman in the second half of the national championship game.
That is the best point.
They weren't worried.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, just let me make this switch here in the middle of the national championship game.
May I remind you, they took out another freshman for that to happen.
Oh, Jalen Hurts was a freshman?
Think so, right?
I don't know.
I think they were both freshmen.
Wow. Well, but give us a text on the text line, 502-414-1450. Text us up. We want to hear, what do you think about the quarterback situation? What do you think about Brandon Dawkins? I know what I think about Brandon Dawkins. He's a quitter. I'm not being facetious. He's a quitter. That's what he is. This is the second team he's quit inside of a year because things didn't go his way. He lost the starting job to Khalil Tate after he got hurt. And he couldn't get it back from him. Well, Khalil Tate's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. You hear everybody talking about him out there in Arizona. So he comes to Indiana. Well, didn't quite get the job done as securing that starting spot. And I guess expected it to be handed to him and wanted it to be handed to him. Or maybe he felt that he was deserving and that this coaching staff was out of their mind.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It just seems like from all we continue to hear, it just seems like Brandon Dawkins wanted it, but he didn't want it. He didn't want it enough to work for it.
Sounds like a millennial.
Yeah, there you go.
Sounds a lot like a millennial.
Lump him in with the rest of them.
Lump them like a lump of coal. But shoot us a text. I want to know what you guys think. Get involved in the conversation. 502-414-1450. Also coming up, speaking of Ball State, Bubba's 33 in Clarksville is the site of the official IU Florida International Watch Party for Indiana Sports Beat. Man, college games all day long. So you come out anytime. But a special watch party for the IU game. Giveaways every hour. And the grand prize, 4 tickets to the Ball State home game. Come on.
Couldn't ask for anything else.
You'll be out there trying to get those tickets.
Perhaps, yeah.
But yeah, I'll be out there. Or will you be out there?
Believe so, yeah.
Yes.
I have to check the schedule.
Yeah, check that schedule. Well, we should be out there. I will be. I'll be out there all day. Probably going to go Facebook Live before the IU game so we can talk about football and whatnot. So come out to Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. It'll be fun.
For sure.
All around. Inside joke. Not
so inside if somebody listens to the station regular.
Well, yeah, but probably not though. Different shows.
Sure.
Different audience. John Asher, a sad note, he was the vice president of communications for Churchill Downs, but that's just a title. What he was the lifeblood of Churchill Downs. He started out in radio for WHAS in Louisville, one of the most prominent stations in the country, especially during that era, and moved over to Churchill Downs. His love of thoroughbred racing, and he was just the perfect fit. He was Churchill Downs. He was the voice of Churchill Downs as far as representing them and statements and whatnot, and he was Churchill Downs. He lived it, breathed it.
Yeah.
Very unfortunate. Passed away, died of a heart attack. I think he was on vacation with his family in Florida. Sad all the way around, but he was 62. But I'd be remiss if I did not mention that. And I also want to thank Aaron Rath and Jake Drescher. If you've noticed, some changes. Indiana Sports Beat. We Got a little modern up, spoofed it up a little bit. New logos, everything.
Getting into this century.
Jake from State Farm is our IT guy. And yes, he's wearing khakis.
He hates that name.
And Aaron, I don't know how I came up with this logo, I'll be honest with you. It just kind of started popping in my head, and everything I said to Aaron, poof, he made happen. Breathe, looks like he went, breathed life into it. But love the logo. So,
Big
yeah.
changes.
Huh?
Big changes.
Big changes. And we're going to bring you more coverage. Of course, Indiana Sports Beat, play on words. During the season, tons of beat writers from both sides giving you the best coverage we can give you. Terry Hutchins joins us this week, longtime beat writer for the Indiana Hoosiers. On the program today, Chuck Crabb. What better way to start the week off? Don Fisher yesterday, entering his 46th year, I believe. I meant to ask him that, and I forgot. And Chuck Crabb is probably entering his 41st or second year, I think. It's amazing.
Both pretty much a mainstay around
these two guys, and they're like the best in the biz on the mic. We're lucky. Very fortunate. But Chuck Crabb on the program today. Also, Chronic Hoosier. It is a Chronic Tuesday. So we've got all kinds of things planned.
Be a fun show.
Go to our Facebook page, Indiana Sports Beat. Like it, follow it. I don't know the difference between like and a follow, to be honest with you. I'll have to get with Jake from State Farm. I honestly do not know the difference. There is a difference, though. But also our website, indianasportsbeat.com. Go there, sign up. You can get copies of each day's show just sent to you. You don't want to chase them around that way. You don't want to miss out on your Indiana coverage. So, indianasportsbeat.com and Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle on Facebook. Check it out.
Yeah, I want to take it back to John Asher real quick because I was telling somebody yesterday that I got to meet him for the first time this past Derby, and I was telling somebody yesterday that although I only got to meet him one time, that John Asher was one of the nicest guys I ever met. Now, I did call him a few times to get him ready for remotes and whatnot, so I spoke to him more than once, but yeah, just an unfortunate loss.
Very, 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 very. The Big Ten has increased the travel roster for football, which only means that more guys can go. A few more players will be able to travel with their team during road games this season, thanks to a rule change from the Big Ten. On Monday, the conference announced that teams will be able to have 74 players on the travel roster for road games in 2018, an increase of 4 players. That doesn't sound like a lot.
Right.
I guarantee you, head coaches are going, yes. Anything you give them, they love. On Monday, the conference announced that teams will be able to have 74 players on the travel roster for road games this year. The previous amount was 70. With the new redshirt rule, players will be able to play in 4 games and retain their redshirt status. So that increased travel roster size only makes sense. And I'm sure it will be coming in handy to people like Tom Allen, Scott Frost. He's very happy with the rule change.
I've actually got sound about him talking about it.
Well, let's hear it.
Yeah, we just heard this morning. Wanted to make sure I could say it, but we just heard this morning they're going to bump the Big Ten travel number to 74. I think that's a good idea. If you change the redshirt rule and we can play redshirts in 4 games a year, most likely those guys are going to get limited reps on offense or defense and play on a special team or 2. It'd be hard to travel those guys and use those guys in one of their 4 games on the road with travel restriction of 70. So that'll give us some freedom to take some of the guys that we need to get experience in a limited fashion at away games as well as home games.
Scott Frost, head coach of Nebraska in his first year, moving over from Central Florida, as Trevor calls them, the co-national champions of last year, as they went undefeated. Beat Auburn, who was the only team to beat Alabama last year. It would have been interesting.
The Scott Frost turn Nebraska around?
I think so. Always hopeful because you'd like to see that back. You want to see it. You want to see the goods be good. Nebraska. You think of Nebraska, you think of football, baby. You think of the days of Tom Osborne and Oklahoma and all those battles. Barry Schweitzer. I mean, they had some battles.
Yeah, I mean, the Big 12 was
back in the day.
They were like the original SEC.
Yeah.
How they are now.
I mean, you had Texas, Oklahoma, Nebraska. They were juggernauts.
A lot of football powers.
They were juggernauts. And today they are juggers knots. No more.
That's pretty good there.
Hey, how about it? You know, I'm not completely devoid of something creative. Hey, Geraldine from Lubbock, Texas. Thanks a lot for listening. We appreciate you. Man, it's crazy the places people are listening to the show is far away. Right now, it's going to be hard to beat our guy in Australia.
I was about to say.
Unless somebody from the moon calls in. Or Mars. Maybe there's somebody still stuck on Mars like that movie.
They're getting a cell phone signal. Yeah, call in. I want to know what it's like.
Well, we're up on satellite up there. Just kidding. But, yeah, we appreciate you very much.
We got a text into the show, 502-414-1450 if you want to do the same. I'm 100% behind Peyton Ramsey. Tom Allen and the coaches went with him, and they are the ones at practice. The new kid, Michael Penix, will get his chance, and I know he is an unbelievable talent, but I believe in Ramsey. That was from Joe.
Well, Joe, we appreciate you texting in. And he's not half wrong. If you support the team, you need to support the quarterback. It's like supporting the president. Support the office. The quarterback is an office. The office of the team. And right now, if Tom Allen says he's deserved the start, then he deserves the start. That tells me that they weren't quite comfortable putting Penix out there yet. So, it's not like he's going to go out there and fall down.
Right.
He started 5 games last year. He came in because he was outplaying Richard Lago last year in the Virginia game and led him to a win. It's not like Peyton Ramsey can't play. So don't get that confused. And he's only gotten better. He's not the fastest guy. And he doesn't have the deepest arm. But I guess you look at it this way. You remember when Peyton Manning won the Super Bowl with the Broncos?
Yep.
Was he the Peyton Manning of old?
No. A shadow of it.
He couldn't throw a ball over 20 yards, man.
Right.
As a matter of fact, did he complete a pass over 20 yards in the last half of that season, including the Super Bowl? He dinked and dunked and chipped him to death because they had a great defense. I'm not saying Indiana has that this year, but they had a great defense. He managed the game. He took care of the ball. Now, that's a different situation because they had such a great defense. They didn't need to score very many points because the defense was going to do their job. Indiana doesn't have that luxury. But he will take care of the ball. He's not going to throw interceptions. He's consistent. He's productive with the pass. He just has some deficiencies. He can't go deep, and he's not fast.
And Peyton Ramsey was actually asked yesterday after practice about starting last year and how it feels different this year.
Yeah, I think the biggest aspect and where it helps the most is in preparation. I have played and I know how to prepare. I know, when to watch film. I know what to look for when I'm watching film. So that way the game slows down just a little bit more for me.
Does it feel different going into the season as the starter than it did just when you were named starter last year?
Yeah, a little bit. I knew I was going to play a little bit last year, so I did prepare like I was going to go out and play. But it is a little bit different this year, just being named the starter. But like I said, I'm still preparing the same exact way.
We talked about
Peyton Ramsey, the starting quarterback for Indiana. Now the elder member of the quarterback room, that just got a little younger with Brandon Dawkins, the grad transfer, leaving. They're going to have to get everything they need out of Coy Crunk in that line.
Yep.
They have a good offensive line. They have a seasoned veteran offensive line that is intact and back. They will Morgan Ellison's a tough loss. There's no way around it. He was going to be the featured back. So there's no way you lose your featured back and it doesn't affect you. None.
Yeah. And we'll see. I mean, you talked about it a little bit yesterday on the show. There are a plethora of other guys back there. I mean,
Well, here's what's going to give Stevie Scott, which we already knew he was going to get his shot, but he may end up getting a lot more of a shot because I want to see him. I cannot wait. You know what? I don't care about the quarterback. I want to see Stevie Scott in this game because he could get up there. I'm not saying he could become the featured back. Cole Guest is probably going to assume that role, but he could really get up there. Yeah, you got Ricky Brookins, you got Mike Majette, Ronnie Walker.
Yeah. Ronnie Walker, you haven't heard a whole lot about.
Sure haven't. Boy, you sure did coming in, didn't you?
Yeah.
Lots coming into camp.
That's what happens when you're a 4-star. And maybe he hasn't been performing like a 4-star, hence why we haven't heard his name.
I think he's done okay. It's just that these other guys have done more.
Right. It's a pretty deep running back room for Indiana.
What about Brandon Dawkins? How do you transfer someplace, you don't win the starting job, and you pack up and leave, take your toys and go home?
Pouting.
He's a quitter.
That's what I said at the beginning of the show. This is him pouting, going in the corner.
He's a quitter, man. Yeah. This is the second team he's quit inside of a year because he didn't get his way. But he knew he wasn't going to get to play at Arizona, so he left. There's no problem with that. But he comes to Indiana thinking he's just going to stroll in. Didn't happen. Now, did he deserve the start over Peyton Ramsey? I don't know. I don't know that. I don't think that. Not that Peyton Ramsey's that great. It's just that, well, what did Dawkins do? I don't know that he ever quite got up to speed, quite got there.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it. Couple texts in the show, 502-414-1450 if you want to do the same. Tim texts in and says he thinks Dawkins leaving helps Indiana get to see Penix for a full season, and he will earn the starting job.
Yeah, and I think that was going to happen regardless.
But Chronic Hoosier said it on Twitter yesterday. It's almost addition by subtraction, getting rid of Dawkins. You've gotten the distraction out of here.
Well, and that's almost can be said the same for Morgan Ellison.
Sure, yeah.
And I say that because after the fact, in talking to a lot of the guys that I have on the show and we talk to, and I never said anything, but I noticed during media day when I was interviewing Morgan Ellison last year after the games, he was made available a lot for interviews because he was a vital part of the offense. And so I interviewed him a lot last year, and he was always humble and just a nice kid. And it wasn't that he wasn't nice this year, but I could just tell a little something. He was a little cocky, truth be told. Had a little bit of taste of arrogance to him, which I guess a lot of people, you have to have that when you play football, but not all the time. And it just seemed to be, it stuck with me. I didn't say anything, didn't mention it, but it stuck with me. And then when this happened, I was like, and then I started hearing, he wasn't real popular in the locker room. And I'm like, just start putting things two and two together. So now you're looking at Cole Guest. He has assumed the position.
And he's a good one to assume it.
We'll find out how that's going to turn out. We'll talk about this a lot more when we come back. We've got plenty more as well. Chuck Crabb is on the program today, as is Chronic Hoosier. We've got a full boat of things to get through. A little bit of IU basketball, not much.
Keep getting your text in, 502-414-1450.
Absolutely. We'll be back with more here on Indiana Sports Beat. Stay tuned.
Oh, big old jet out of line.
Let's do this thing. Welcome to Indiana Sports Beats. Jim Coyle here. Justin Kalen high atop the crew chief's box as always.
That's right.
Keeping things spinning. This is opening college kickoff week, baby. College football is underway this week. Start Thursday. Purdue plays Northwestern. There's another game. UConn. I forget who they play.
UCF, right?
I saw that Michigan State plays Friday.
Interesting.
So, and then Saturday the whole deal opens up. But before we get to that, let's get to the headlines. And Justin,
all right, these are your headlines for Tuesday, August 28th, 2018. Brought to you by Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart, located on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. Stop in for your hot breakfast, fill your gas tank, or get the daily lunch special. $4.99 baked tacos today. Odell Beckham Jr. signs a 5-year, $95 million deal with the Giants. $65 million of that guaranteed, making him the highest-paid wide receiver. Manu Ginobili retires after 16 seasons with the Spurs. On the journey, Manu said, "It's been a fabulous journey, way beyond my wildest dreams." Former New Albany and U of L star Josh Rogers gets his first career Major League Baseball start tonight as the Orioles take on the Blue Jays. And Brandon Dawkins leaves Indiana's football program. Alan on Brandon Dawkins, he's going a different direction in his life. Those are your headlines for August 28th, 2018. Brought to you by Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart, located on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. Make sure you stop in today for your $4.99 baked tacos.
thank you, sir. I was by there this morning having my Billy Joe's coffee as we speak.
Come on. Did you bring your own cup?
Own cup and I bring my own creamer as well.
What?
Oh yeah, man, it's ready to go.
You should
when
get
I
it for a
walk in.
quarter then. You're saving them cup cost and creamer
I
cost.
walk in, I'm ready to go. I want my own creamer. I don't have to stand there. It's mainly because I don't want to have to stand there and peel every one of those little cups that has like a sip of creamer in it that you got to fold like 8 or 9 of them. It's nuts.
Fair enough. A couple texts in the show, 502-414-1450. Joker texts in and says, Fish was on the Dan Asshole Docket show yesterday and said that the strength and conditioning coaches work specifically with Ramsey's arm strength, and it is improved considerably. I think he said something similar on our show, too.
Yeah, and look, he works for IU. He's gonna toe the IU line. So they're going to say those things. And I'm sure that that's true, that they did those very things. That doesn't make the accuracy there. That doesn't put it there.
But, I mean, we have heard that a lot this offseason.
Well, they worked with everything.
Yeah.
But
the one thing specifically with Peyton Ramsey is his arm strength.
That's because it was so atrocious.
True.
I mean, there was nowhere to go but up. But, yeah, let's hope that improved, because he's probably more of a quarterback that you can use more. He's a dropback, a little bit more of a dropback passer, but he's a scrambler. He's more of a Steve Young type quarterback, a scrambling. He just seems like he's better on the run than he is standing in the pocket. Although he's got size, man. He's big enough.
You have, in a roundabout way, compared Peyton Ramsey to Steve Young and Peyton Manning today. I don't know about that.
Well, how about Peyton Manning?
Well, it wasn't so much about Peyton Ramsey, more about the team.
Oh, it was the style
yeah.
of throwing 15-yard passes down the field.
Just wanted to throw it out there.
Yeah, well, not comparing to Peyton Manning. Comparing
old Peyton Manning.
Yes, old Peyton Manning, who threw 15-yard passes, but that Peyton Manning had the best defense in the world.
Sure.
This Peyton does not. Steve Young, comparison in the regards to a scrambling, throwing quarterback. He can't run as well as Steve Young. And he's not as accurate as Steve Young, and Steve Young had a downfield threat.
Yeah.
So
Peyton Ramsey does too, but can his arm get it there?
A downfield threat?
Yeah. Nick Westbrook, you wouldn't consider him a downfield threat?
I'm talking about the quarterback's not a downfield threat.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, if his arm strength really has improved, he could be this year. Who knows?
Ifs and nuts. Or candies and butts.
There you go. Kevin texts in as well, 502-414-1450 if you want to do the same. Said Reese Taylor will be more than a third-string quarterback. He will play all over the field.
Yeah, that's probably true. They're going to get him in. if he is as special, and I didn't get to see him very much, but if he is as special as it seems like, both sides of the ball fighting for him to play on it, they wanted him to play on defense, he's playing on offense, then you kind of can't keep those players off the field. They find their way onto the field in some form or fashion.
Yeah. And I'd venture to say we may not even see Reese Taylor in a quarterback at all for Indiana, aside from maybe a couple trick plays here and there.
Yeah.
So you're more likely to see him in other spots of the field anyway.
They don't need to be running trick plays right now.
No. Right, but they likely will.
I doubt it. Why? Why do you don't run trick plays in the first game of the year? You don't show your stuff.
Not in the first game. Certainly not.
But Indiana will wear a helmet decal to honor Bill Mallory, the program's all-time winningest coach, who passed away in Bloomington in May of this year. IU has won 12 of its last 14 season openers, by the way. That's always good. They've won 11 of their last 12 non-conference games. They were 3-0 last year. 4 straight on the road. That included Virginia last year. Florida International the year before that. Indiana has met 10 top 10 and 6 top 5 teams in the last 34 games. How about them apples?
That's why you don't win 8, 9, 10
That's
games.
what happens when you play in the Big Ten East.
Yeah.
Now, big talk last year about their defense. What a great defense. Now, and they have some remnants of that, but you still have the same coach. Last year, the Hoosiers finished first nationally in 3 and outs, 6.5 per game. 9th in third down defense, 9th in the country. That's the best program mark since 1992. They were 3rd in the Big Ten. That's with defenses like Michigan and Michigan State, who are the toughest. Man, that's good defense, boys.
Yeah.
Where was I? They were 17th in passing defense last year at only 179 yards per game. That's the best program mark since 95. It was 4th in the Big Ten, 26th in total defense. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
We're talking about Indiana was 26th in total defense. 26th.
Seems almost a little wrong that you're saying that.
Total defense in football. Wow. I know. I mean, I think a lot of Indiana fans know, but outside of that, a lot of people don't realize how good that daggone team was defensively. They were tough. Ask Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Ask Mark D'Antonio. Ask those guys. Ask Urban Meyer.
But it'll be interesting to see the defense this year, how they come back after losing 8 starters. I mean, it's not easy to replenish, but you and Don Fisher talked about it yesterday. There are a lot of guys on defense that Hoosier fans should be excited about. I think that are going to make a lot of plays for Indiana this upcoming season. Sure, they may not be as good defensively, but I still think they're going to be okay.
We'll find out.
Yep.
Hey, switching gears to basketball a little bit. Last year we had the FBI investigation hitting right around this time. But since then, has that investigation significantly reduced cheating in the last 10 months?
Great question.
Yeah. What do some of the coaches think? Some of the quotes, anonymous coaches, but big-time coaches. I don't think the investigation has any effect on what goes on in college basketball. At the end of the day, guys are going to do what they're going to do until they get caught. I'm not one of those guys that says, that guy cheats, that guy cheats. I don't know. I don't assume. The FBI scared some parents off to some schools, but it's not going to change some idiot's kids or idiot's parents. It didn't change the cheating. It changed the way people ask for things. Yeah. It changed the way people ask for things. It just changed how they cheat. Exactly. Because the NCAA, again, does this. Well, we're going to come in here and do this, by golly. Well, of course, we don't think about anything because they didn't talk to the NBA or USA Basketball. Ignorant people. But there are kids. I brought this up. There's a recruit that I know of, and everybody is wanting to be around this kid. They all want their piece for different reasons. They all think that they're important. And so you get people involved that are actually involved for their own self-serving purposes. So you still have not. What have you done? Nothing. As long as if you still have those type of people involved, you've done nothing. Because the avenue's still there. It's just changed. It's just a different road, man. It's just a different car to get there.
Here's my favorite coach quote. Coaches are just being more careful now, more burner phones.
Wow. And that came from a coach.
Yikes.
What is this, NCIS, man?
Right?
Wow, more burner phones. Breaking Bad. The Breaking Bad of college basketball. Where's the sound right there, sound man?
My fault.
The theme, just a clip from the theme of Breaking Bad right there. Of course, you never saw that show, did you?
I've seen a couple, yeah.
Great one.
Jake from State Farm can attest to that.
I bet he's seen more than you have.
Maybe.
In and out of khaki pants. How about that, Apple? We got to take a break. When we come back, our man, Karani Hoosier. Stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle right back on Big X Sports Radio. Hey, if you're in the market for a new truck or tractor, car, or ATV, you need to be at Hollis Auction Service on November the 10th. Located on Highway 150 in Greenville, just west of Highway 335, Hollis Auction Service also needs items for the auction. If you're looking to sell, call Billy Joe Hollis today at 502-664-1606. That's 502-664-1606. Make sure you're at Hollis Auction Service in Greenville on November 10th.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Love that sound. You know what that means. It is Chronic Tuesday. Welcome, Chronic Hoosier, to the program. How's it going, my friend?
Man, I was doing great. Then I heard all this nonsense about you being a coffee creamer snob, and I'm taken aback by this, Jim.
I'm a creature of habit, man.
I got to know what's too good that you got to bring your own in.
It's not that. It's I don't want to stand there and undo those little bitty packets that have like just a morsel of creamer in them. And you got to undo like 50 of those things. So I just pour it in before I leave the house, boom, and out the door. It's about expediting things.
You like a little coffee with your milk then, huh?
No, a little bit. And I like my hazelnut or whatever. A little bit of a snob, a little bit of a snob there. I'll give it to you, but I drink in mass consumptions in the morning, so
that makes two of us.
I have to make it worthwhile. A little bit surprised on the football front with the unexpected leaving, Brandon Dawkins leaving camp yesterday.
You know, I gotta say this one leaves a really bad taste in my mouth for a lot of reasons.
He's a quitter.
You know, here's the thing: when Coach Allen was out in the market trying to find a grad transfer, and there was some mutual interest expressed between the parties. By all accounts, it was made perfectly clear, crystal clear, that this wasn't a foregone conclusion. He wasn't being gift-wrapped a starting position. He was going to be given the opportunity to come to Bloomington, Indiana, and compete for some time with this football team. And by all accounts, he welcomed that challenge with his eyes wide open to what he was getting into. He knew full well that this was going to be a competition. And, you know, without having the full details of everything that went behind the decision, what we can glean from an outside is it certainly looks like he took exception to losing the competition and took his ball and went home, you know, and it's certainly his prerogative, but for them to reach the agreement they did that he was going to come here and compete for this job, part of that was the Hoosiers gave up not just a scholarship, and I don't think we can downplay that enough, because right now there's some family on this team who's currently paying tuition that could have been awarded a scholarship right now. Those are real hard-earned dollars. I mean, you're talking about $10,000+ in state, over $30,000 if it's an out-of-state athlete. Some family is financially burdened because of the scholarship that was given to Dawkins when he agreed to come here and compete for the position. Secondly, you look at all the time that was allocated to him, the resource that was allocated to him to come in here and try to develop him and get him up to speed with the playbook. The number of reps he took under center that another quarterback now wasn't able to achieve. These are all things that they'll never have the ability to take back. They'll never have the ability to reallocate those resources towards another player who chooses to stay with the team, even though he's not currently going to be the starter, or even guaranteed any minutes going forward. These guys all sign up for that, and it's just really disappointing that he would make this commitment to the team, and then as soon as he gets news that he doesn't like, he packs up and heads out. The week of the game week, no less, man. It really, really sours me on this cat.
I'm with you, and I agree 1,000%. And here's what I keep telling people. Does that story sound familiar? Look at Arizona. Same thing. He lost out the starting job to Khalil Tate, who was a great quarterback, of course. But he didn't get his way there, and so he packs his bags, takes his toys, and goes home. He comes to Indiana, thinks he's going to waltz in, get this top job. Doesn't quite get there. And everything I heard, from what I saw and what I heard, was he just wasn't quite there. He came in out of shape. So he was behind from the beginning. And it's like he didn't really care. It's like it was going to be handed to him, is this attitude that seems to have developed. And I'm like, yeah, you're not Peyton Manning, you know, gee whiz. So
no, it's really frustrating. And, you know, it's one of those situations where, you know, because of the grad transfer rules, this is something that every staff has to deal with whenever there's a player who's, you know, maybe not getting or maybe not an ideal position in order to, you know, to solidify a starting role, or even that, you know, if they just don't like the situation they find themselves in, they're free to go wherever they will after they've graduated and completed the requirements. All that said, though, you know, and perhaps the staff could have vetted the prospect a little better. That is one of the challenges that you get in the grad transfer market. Is it's really more like you know, this is more like Tinder dating anymore. You know, you have no opportunity to really dig in and figure out what type of a character you're getting. You don't really get to know them so well as a person. It's a very expedited process.
Sounds like
from the time that these guys start shopping around until they kind of find a match for them. And it certainly puts an onus on the staff to do a lot of research in a short amount of time to figure out if it's going to be a right fit. All that said, though, man, it's just really, really disappointing to be, you know, on the first Monday of game week, and all of a sudden we find out that this guy's out the door. And now, you know, don't get me wrong, I do like the fact now that you've got a couple of guys. You have 3 guys now who look to be long-term investments for the program, with Peyton Ramsey winning the starting position. Penix coming in as a true freshman. It's just going to increase the number of minutes he gets throughout the season. And now you get to move Mr. Football, Indiana Mr. Football. Reese Taylor is going to join the quarterback room. But you know what, man? If that was the situation to begin with, think about how much more game ready. Think about how much more prepared Reese would have been had he been able to spend the entire summer in the quarterback room, getting his arms around the playbook, getting reps with the receivers, kind of getting some of that chemistry, and just getting up to speed with what it's going to take to be a quarterback at the Division I level. Dawkins' decision, it certainly seems kind of petulant at this point, but he has completely deprived all those guys those opportunities that were available to them throughout the summer, throughout the fall camp, and now as we're heading into game week, you've got your third string quarterback who just yesterday is getting integrated into the offense. It's one of those situations. It's really unfortunate for all parties involved. I do think it's going to end up paying bigger dividends down the road, getting Penix more snaps. That being said, though, too, you probably just cost Penix his red shirt. I mean, that's probably going to go out the window now. You know, in a perfect world, he could play up to 4 games and would not jeopardize the red shirt. But now, be it a combination of just coaching decisions on a game-to-game basis, or potentially injury with Ramsey in front of him, that red shirt's probably not going to happen now. It's probably not going to be available because they're probably going to need to get more snaps for him in more games than 4, thereby disqualifying from taking a red shirt year.
I thought he was going to lose that anyway. I saw him playing regardless of the Brandon Dawkins situation because it became apparent that Dawkins early on wasn't there, like I said, and he never got there. So it was never in my mind a thought that Michael Penix he's going to play. He's going to play. He'll play Friday. He'll play Saturday, as a matter of fact.
That means that he has, you know, if that were going to be the case, that's probably good for the Hoosiers because that means you've now got a quarterback prospect who's more than capable of earning those minutes. And honestly, at the end of the day, best guy should be getting the snaps, no matter what the situation is as far as classification, be a grad transfer, be potential redshirt, best man up by all means. That being said, though, that was an option that I know the staff had been entertaining. And now that's out the window, more than likely.
Absolutely, and I think it's going to end up being. I think it's going to end up working out fine because Penix is going to get to play. I think he's going to play sooner rather than not, and I can see him being the starting quarterback at some point this season. They've got to do something to beat the teams they're not supposed to beat, which is they have not done for a long, long time. Something different has to happen. It cannot be the status quo. It cannot be the same old Indiana. They've got to do something different. And to me, that's going to be a quarterback that is very vibrant. And I think that is what Michael Penix might be.
No, I think another element of it too is it kind of takes takes a page out of Mike DeBoer's playbook as well, as far as the packages that they were going to put in place for Dawkins. It's going to force them to really focus on the 2 assets they have right there, potentially 3, I guess, with Taylor. But I don't know that he's going to be a realistic option for some time, in the absence of an emergency situation. But it's going to really focus them on those 2 quarterbacks as opposed to trying to juggle 3 balls. Now they've got to focus on 2. And figure out how to best maximize each one of those assets given the situation. So there could be a benefit in that, kind of an addition by subtraction as well, just by forcing their hands a little bit more and making them stick with the ones that they got there with.
Talking with Chronic Hoosier, of course. Now, the one negative to me is the fact that it pulls Reese Taylor out of everything else he was doing and puts him in that quarterback room, a position that he's probably not really going to get to play a whole lot of this year. And who knows going forward. So, and if you take him, that great athlete, away from what he was doing, where he was on the defense or whatever, you're kind of hurting the team in that regard, I think.
I'm a little mixed on this one. It's tough to say that a quarterback, a football player rather, because let's be honest, that's exactly what Reese Taylor is. He's just a tremendous football player. Everybody that's ever coached him, everybody that's ever been around him, the kid's a winner. He's a true leader. He is just an amazing athlete. But at the end of the day, he's a pretty darn good quarterback. That kid knows what it takes to win football games from the backfield. So, it is certainly it's certainly disappointing that he got to spend the entire summer in the fall camp working with the cornerbacks, and all of a sudden he's just at the cusp of the season, he's being forced to totally change his approach, to change his focus on the team. That being said, though, too, I don't think there's any team in the country that's going to be hampered by a guy like Reese Taylor working with the quarterbacks. He's proven time and time again that he has what it takes to compete. He may not fit the superlative model of what you want in a D1 quarterback coming out of high school, by some guys' standards. That being said, though, too, if the true goal is just to put the best guys in place to help your football team win, you'd be hard-pressed to find a coach that's going to believe that having Reese Taylor in the game with the ball in his hands isn't going to better your team's chances of winning in most circumstances. I don't think, like I said, I don't think he's going to be game ready real soon. That being said, they'll give him some time to get caught up. Again, man, the kid's just a winner. He's just a winner, and he's one heck of a football player. And what better position for a great football player to help your team than to be in the backfield with the football in his hands.
Last year, Florida International was 8-4 under Butch Davis, his first season there. A very well-known, well-traveled coach. This is not a gimme cupcake game.
No, it's certainly not. I'm looking at this line, 10.5 for the Hoosiers right now. That could be a pretty tough nut to crack. The over/under has slowly dropped a little bit. It was open to 57. Now we're down to 55. One thing that always gets you with this type of a game, we've seen it in years past. You're going down to Miami. It's still pretty darn hot down there. It's going to be a night game. Road environment. I suspect you're probably going to see a lot of guys cramping up early or at some point during the game. Opens the door for injury. Could have one of those situations where you got a lot of backups having to come in. Man, there's so many wild cards at play right here. I know the Hoosiers are rightfully favored in this game. We can debate whether or not 10.5 is a reasonable margin. But I think it's certainly going to be a great test for IU to open the season. It should give people a good opportunity to see exactly where they're at. Again, I think this is one of those games where when you look at IU returning a fully healthy and stacked line, this provides a great opportunity for IU to really go out there and control the football game, run it at their pace, keep things at their tempo, and hopefully we get a chance to see truly what a DeBoer offense looks like when he's got all his assets in place. That being said, we do have, in addition to the quarterback situation, which was apparently already determined that. Now you got a situation, though, to figure out who's going to be the next man up in the backfield. Because I think the Hoosiers, one thing that's going to be really key to them succeeding this season is the ability to establish a running game. And now with Morgan Ellison suspended indefinitely, there's some opportunities for some guys to come out and show themselves. I think that's going to be something that's going to be essential for this team, is really going out and establishing a run game early and often, keeping the defenses honest with how they're playing the Hoosiers, which is only going to benefit Ramsey when he looks to pass here. So big question to see who steps up in the backfield. All that said, though, too, something interesting that came out in Coach Allen's press conference yesterday. He did mention when it comes to the Ellison situation that this is a matter that's out of his hands. It does not appear to be one of those violations of team rules. The common blanket statement for this guy did the coaches done ticked him off.
Yeah,
this sounds more like a code of conduct type thing. This sounds like a pretty serious violation where he may not be returning to IU this year. There's a judicial process in place.
I don't expect to see him back.
I would not be holding my breath to see
And
Morgan
the funny
Ellison
thing is,
come
I
back.
didn't think we'd be off the Morgan Ellison topic so fast. Brandon Dawkins, of course, is to thank for that. I didn't think we'd be off the Morgan Ellison topic as quickly as we were because Brandon Dawkins changed that. But got to get to a break. We got Chuck Crabb coming up next. Chronic Hoosier, thank you so much, brother. Looking forward next time we talk. We'll have a game under our belt.
Cannot wait. Let's get it on, guys.
Sounds great. Chronic Hoosier, thanks a lot, as always. We'll be right back with Chuck Crabb here on Indiana Sports Beat.
I'm gonna meet the boys on floor number 2. Smoking in the boys' room. Smoking in the boys' room. Now, teacher, don't you feel me? Up with your rules. Or everybody knows that smoking ain't allowed in school.
Hurt in a car? Call Sam Aguiar.
When you hire a lawyer, you deserve to be treated with courtesy and respect. At Sam Aguiar Injury Lawyers, these are more than just words. It's how we treat each and every client who walks through our door. You want a lawyer who cares enough to listen, but you also need a lawyer who knows how to win. With us, you don't have to choose.
Hurt in a car? Call Sam Aguiar. 888-8888.
Welcome back to the program here on Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Justin Kalen sitting high atop the crew chief's box. Just finished a great conversation with Chronic Hoosier, as we do each and every Tuesday. And we're supposed to have Chuck Crabb on today. I probably should have reminded him last night. I did not. But we're still trying to get him. Always great to start the season with Chuck Crabb as we're in the middle of college football kickoff week. Make sure you join us at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville this Saturday. College kickoff watch party. IU taking on Florida International at 7 o'clock. Will be giveaways every hour on the hour. And a grand prize of 4 tickets to the IU Ball State game. And before we get to that, we're joined by the longtime PA announcer of Indiana University, Chuck Crabb. Chuck, how are you, sir?
Very well. Boy, what a beautiful morning we've got in Bloomington today.
I'm telling you, the last time I was there doing the game from the press box, of which Chuck so graciously got up early and let us in. Thank you. I finally get to thank you. But yeah, seeing that sunrise from the press box at Memorial Stadium, now that was something.
Well, it's a different view than most people receive. I just had the pleasure of the reverse, coming down 17th Street, cresting the hill, and looking at the sun splashing on the front of the press box face, and that was exciting.
Yeah, I tell you what, and it's same for whoever you are, wherever you are. But if it's Bloomington is the place, there's just no prettier place than that sunrise or sunset and a fall Bloomington day. And as we're getting close to fall, but it truly is one of the most beautiful places in America.
Well, we're very fortunate, and a lot of people come and enjoy it. Certainly, our alumni are finding this, and it's true all over the country. They love to return to the alma mater and make that a retirement center. And there's a great deal of growth happening with condominiums, timeshares, and things of that nature. People coming in, enjoying Monroe County and South Central Indiana.
And it's a beautiful place and to be. Now, you are starting, what, is this your 42nd season?
It'll be 42 announcing, 43 in the department full-time, so pretty good run.
Yeah, not bad. And Don Fisher started his weekly visits yesterday. And, of course, Don is also going into what I believe would be his 46th season.
Yeah,
so
right.
Indiana is so fortunate to have the best guy on the mic inside the gym for the folks there and for the folks on the radio with Don Fisher. I don't know how did Indiana get so blessed. Well, that's a hard question for you to answer, but it's just so fortunate to have guys like yourself and Don Fisher. It's incredible.
Well, I think Chancellor Herman Wells, he captured it well with the title of his book, Being Lucky, and that's the situation for me, Jim. I've just been lucky, and being in the right place in 1976 when Bert Laws finished his 40-year career as Indiana's PA announcer and taking over the year after Benny finished his eligibility in 77, and so that's when I started, September of 77. I think the first football game would have been Indiana versus Wisconsin. We at that time were playing some of our conference openers that very first September weekend.
Unbelievable, because when you stop and think about it, on the PA, on the mic, Indiana has basically only had 2 guys in the last 100 years, in the last century.
Yeah, I have to pinch myself when I start hearing that kind of number, but it's some people keep asking how many games, and I want to say I'm somewhere north of 800 games basketball and somewhere maybe 300, 400 football. I haven't announced football since 2002 season when I started working more full-time in the athletic administration on game day management. But I can't begin to tell you how many track meets. And, of course, we had this last year the Big Ten cross-country championship here. I went to Geneva, Ohio, and did the indoor championship in February, and then we returned to Bloomington in May and had the 3 days of the Big Ten outdoor championship. So very unusual for somebody to even have those three, the Triple Crown together at that point with track and field. And from down your way, I mean, someone like Catherine Receiver, watching her perform, and Maggie Allen, two outstanding distance runners for Indiana, both from the Falls City area.
Amazing. Now, with your job change on the football side of it, what do you do or have to do to prepare for the season? As we're right around the corner from, we're still probably 2 weeks away from a home game for Indiana.
Home game, yeah.
So what all does your endeavors get you into now?
Well, I've got a lot of staff, all the turf management, the logistics and setup, the maintenance, the custodial. About 40 people are in my operating area. So we're simply going over Memorial Stadium and the surrounding areas with a fine-tooth comb, making sure electric is ready to go, fans, exhaust fans, heating units, although right now, coming up on 90-plus today, I don't think we have to worry about heat in any restrooms, but plumbing fittings, things of that nature. We're finishing some renovation in the press box area, some remodeling there. And, of course, as you undoubtedly have been talking over the last month, we've been moving in phases to the new Excellence Center in the south end zone of Memorial Stadium. Our foods operation is online. Our athletic training has been consolidated into that area. And so it's all just an amazing accomplishment. We had our annual all-staff yesterday, and Fred Glass, rightfully, was talking about the accomplishments in his 10 years as athletic director, and it amounts to somewhere right around $300 million in facility renovations or new construction. So that's we've definitely stepped forward to make our facilities better for the student athlete. I mean, anything we've done has addressed the student athlete, the product that we put on the field and on the court. What do they need for their academic support? What do they need in terms of fitness, nutrition, leadership? I mean, we're certainly in the vanguard of what's happening in college sports with our student leadership development, and that, making the kids ready for what happens to them when they finish their fourth or fifth year here wearing the cream and crimson.
Talking with Chuck Crabb, well-known PA announcer from Indiana fame, but wears a lot more hats than that. And as the fans come to the stadium this year, you mentioned the Excellence Academy. They're going to be in for a treat. There is just visually, it is a completely different looking stadium. With that thing closed in, it is just, it's amazing to me how it just completely transforms that stadium. It's a mind-boggling.
Well, it is. We can now legitimately say we have a major league collegiate football complex here in Bloomington, Indiana. All the seating surrounds the field now, all sides. We're probably right around 53,000 in total seating capabilities. When people come in, I mean, the parts of the south end, the Excellence Academy, will be available on a game day basis. Mr. Glass, certainly a very big proponent of the Kids Zone, where so many families enjoyed the experience for about 7 years before we started the construction on the Excellence Academy. But we're going to recapture that again, Jim. It's probably going to be a little bit different package, but we want to have somewhere where families can come and enjoy the experience of a college football game. Now, it may not be the Nerf football that they were playing before. I mean, if old Dad went long on a fly pattern here now and went over the railing, he'd be in for a heck of a fall.
Yeah, not good. But yeah, it looks so. When I was up there and we did our show up there from the press box, it just amazed me how it has changed that stadium. I went to school there long enough to go to where there was nothing in either end zone, so I remember that. And then when they made the U, it was pretty cool. It looks really nice. But when they enclosed it, it's like it completely changed it.
It is. Yep.
I'm looking forward to seeing how loud it can get.
Well, that's it. We haven't had the acoustics tested yet. The only thing we've done, certainly we put in a brand new LED video board that is right at the level of being a high definition screen. And we enjoyed having all of our student athletes in the venue for a tailgate party the Sunday before classes began on August 19th. And the diversity committee, they wanted a video shown, so Mr. Glass did nothing more than went out and bought the rights to the movie Black Panther, and we had that on the big screen, and I kind of wimped out. I went and sat in my office in the north end zone and watching it, and oh my. I mean, you talk about vivid colors and sound. We've got sound now in the Rock. There is no two ways around it.
I tell you, I'm looking forward to seeing a concert there because I can visualize a band up on the end where the Excellence Academy is, and the sound would be incredible. So I'm looking forward to seeing a concert there.
Well, it's coming now. Jay-Z and Beyonce, they're not coming our way yet like they were in North Carolina 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, we don't want to replace the field.
No, we're not up for that. We always are sensitive about that, and so is the university administration with us. But we'll wait and see what happens. Some point in the future, it'll happen.
Talking with Chuck Crabb. Chuck, thank you so much. Looking forward to getting another football season kicked off as we will this Saturday at 7 o'clock in South Florida.
Yep. Yeah, everybody, our flight, the charter, shortly after noon on Friday, heading down that way. But plenty of tickets remaining, folks. Keep in mind Virginia coming in. UVA, it'll be a primetime game on Big Ten Network. But why not have everybody come in to Bloomington and enjoy the experience live and in person?
Absolutely. And you got Ball State coming up a week from this Saturday, a first home game up in Bloomington.
Yep.
So home season
Ball
gets
State will be
off
on the 15th. Yeah. We've got Virginia on the 8th and Ball State on the 15th.
I've got them screwed up then. I had them reversed.
Michigan State then coming in on the 22nd. So, boy, it's all here.
It is. It's certainly here. Chuck Crabb, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Look forward to seeing you soon and talking to you again.
All right. Sure enough. Take care now.
Thank you. Chuck Crabb from Indiana University. If you're an Indiana fan, you know who Chuck Crabb is. If you're not, he's been on the mic for the PA for how long? 40. What did he say? This is
42nd year.
Yeah. Wow.
If you don't know him, you've definitely heard the voice.
If you've ever listened to a game, yes, especially a basketball game.
No question.
No question, Don. And we had Don Fish on yesterday, who has been behind the mic on the call for radio for this will be his 46th season. So between those two, they have done a decade of work. A century of work.
Just about. Almost.
It's nuts.
88 years, yeah.
It's crazy. But football right around the corner, man. Saturday, kickoff party at Bubba's. Official watch party of Indiana Sports Beat. As Indiana takes on Florida International. Giveaways every hour. Then we're going to give away 4 tickets to the IU Ball State game, of which I had.
Are you sure it's not IU Virginia?
Yeah, it's Ball State. Man, I was thinking that was the next game. I guess just because of, I hate to say importance, but relevance. I was just thinking it was next week, and it's not. So Virginia's the next week. But this week it's Florida International. They're on the road, and the watch party's at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Going to give away tickets to the Ball State game. So.
And you all talked about it a little bit yesterday, but Indiana, 10.5-point favorites. Over under 57.
Yeah, what do you think about those numbers?
I think Indiana goes way over that.
On both?
Well, here's my thing is a big talking point in the show yesterday you all kept bringing up is the fact that FIU isn't going to be a walkover. Well, then you broke down they lost their quarterback, lost their number 1 running back, lost their number 1 wide receiver. Oh, and their number 2 wide receiver, lost their top tight end. How is this going to be a game when a school like FIU loses all that? Indiana should win by 3 touchdowns, no less.
Well, Indiana is coming in with a defense that lost 8 starters and a quarterback that was just named.
Well, how much?
With not a lot of great fanfare.
How much can you seriously worry about the defense of Indiana when FIU doesn't have any offense? Their whole offense is new.
Well, first of all, you always worry about everything in any game because you don't know. This team was an 8-4 team. Indiana's wasn't an 8-4 team last year.
No.
So I think it'd be cause for concern.
I don't know. You asked me what I thought about the numbers. I told you 3 touchdowns. I'm staying off the fence.
I love it.
I'm staying off the fence.
Taking a stand.
Taking a stand. Now the over/under, that one's a little more tricky. I don't really have an opinion on that either way. I couldn't tell you if it's going to be a high scoring game, low scoring game.
Yeah, I'm going to go with what's the over and under 50?
57.
57. That's total, right?
Yeah.
So, that's tough.
But if I'm saying Indiana wins,
I'm saying under. I'm going under.
Okay, if I say Indiana wins by 3 touchdowns, I think I've got to take the over.
No, because what if they win 21-0?
Well, then I'm going to feel real foolish.
You haven't even gotten to half of the points. So you figured if they win 31-10, that's still only 41 points.
Yeah, I'm going to go over, just so we're different.
Yeah. All right, well, we got a bet.
I didn't agree to all that.
Yeah.
You can't keep track of any of our bets.
I don't keep. I have. You're right, because yesterday when you were sick and Trevor was sitting in, Joker was reminding him of bets that me and Trevor have, and I'm like,
top 3 basketball ones.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, okay.
I don't remember anything about that.
I make so many bets. I'm like, going, thank God Joker's keeping track of those because I have no idea.
Got a little notepad he keeps them in.
He's keeping it straight. Thank goodness. We appreciate it, and we appreciate you for joining us here today on the program. Indiana Sports Beat will be back tomorrow with more. We've got Matt Weaver from Peaks.com. We'll be talking some football. Mike Schumann from the Daily Hoosier as well. We got plenty to talk about as we are in the midst of college football kickoff week.
We're there.
I'm jacked, man. I am so ready. There are games Thursday night. Purdue plays Northwestern.
Yep.
Open up Big Ten play. That game will probably be here on Big X Sports Radio, by the way.
Yeah, I think it is, yeah.
So, not a lot of Purdue fans, I understand. But, no, that's true. There's not. But that gives them something to catch. Also coming up, Kentucky Roll Call comes up, follows us. TJ Walker and Nick Roush and Trevor Kelsey, who sat in yesterday. Again, we thank him for that. So, for Justin Kalen and Jake from State Farm, this is Jim Coyle, and I'll see you on the beat tomorrow.